its own. The Polish-Russian antagonism dates back about 900 years. Poland is close to the Baltics in Northern Europe. They don't want to go the way of Ukraine. On the other hand, they're a NATO member. So it's a different situation. So I would say this is a subject requiring a lot of current study. Not a lot of answers in the back of the book at the moment. So that's the fourth. And the fifth one, back in East Asia, is the China decision to finally seize Taiwan. You know, the Chinese communists won the Chinese Revolution in 1949, and the remaining nationalist forces under Chiang Kai-shek fled to the offshore island of Formosa, or MOSA, which has since been renamed Taiwan. And for a long time, they had a dictatorship there, and it was a very poor country, but ultimately it evolved into a thriving democracy and hugely successful economic power. I think they have the 8th largest gold reserves in the world. It's huge sums, fabulously successful economically. And there's tons of Taiwanese direct foreign investment in China, and all kinds of cross-straits communication and so forth and so on. But according to official Chinese policy, Taiwan is called a wayward province of China, and it needs to be part of the motherland. Now you see what Xi Jinping gradually referred to it is doing with the offshore islands, and it's moving forward incrementally. And the sense that some Americans feel is, you know, we are rising, you are declining. And there's a whole strategy that the U.S. labels, a Chinese strategy that the U.S. labels anti-access area denial, A2AD. That the Chinese, like he said, countering the deterrent. They don't want to fight with the U.S. They don't want to destroy U.S. forces. They want to basically preclude the U.S. from getting involved in what they see as their business. And if it looked to be going this way, this could possibly be the biggest trigger for a Japanese nuclear program. That's why I put Japan next to China and Taiwan. Because although Sino-Japanese relations is also very good economically, it's a bitter remembrance from the Second World War, and none of that has abated. I have many stories I can tell you. I've been to both countries many times. It's as though it happened yesterday afternoon. And now the sixth one is the one that was raised earlier about terrorism and nuclear weapons, particularly ISIS and nuclear weapons. So now you have the revelations just within the last 2 weeks that the Brussels group that attacked the airport and the subway were surveilling the nuclear power plant in Brussels, that they had visions of kidnapping nuclear power plant workers and gaining weapons material, or at least enriched uranium, I guess, I don't know, highly enriched, from the power plants. And of course, none of the terrorist specialists believe that ISIS would hesitate for 1 second to use any kind of radiological device on a populated area to cause terror. The Nuclear Security Summit that Ishan talked about earlier is very much in the effort to get as much control of weapons-grade material as possible all over the world. the two sentences that are true about that, a lot of progress has been made, and a lot more progress needs to be made. Ukraine gave up its material, maybe not a bit less of some countries. Chile gave up material. There's material in a lot of places. Pakistan hasn't played. Of course, India hasn't played. North Korea, of course, hasn't played. Iran hasn't played. Although we have the separate agreement. And I think what's particularly worrisome is that ISIS seems so skilled in reaching out to people who will help them. And they have so much money to pay that it's not at all impossible that there could be insider cooperation in various places to give them the material that they need. And I think this would be like the cherry on the sundae if they could actually detonate a radiological device in a populated area in the U.S. or Europe. Yes.
I was at this proliferation, resistance, and physical protection workshop of Professor Peterson as part of this group.
Right.
Earlier last semester, and we talked about the various pathways to nuclear materials, specific regards to when you're designing plants. And so there's the scenario where you have people inside the plant either trying. So we usually talk about that when we talk about like a state like Iran having a plan where they're diverting material on purpose to build up weapons.
Yeah.
But that would really be the only feasible way. It wouldn't be like it's much less feasible for some kind of like quick seizure of material.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the analysis has been so far, but it just seems like a much less plausible way of gathering material than other ways for infiltration through personnel into the plant in order to take material out. I mean, there's so much, especially for a state that is an IAEA state. I mean, there's so much monitoring going on. It seems difficult unless the entire plant and people at the IAEA who are monitoring them are all
part of the cabal.
Yeah, it just. I mean, I don't know what the conclusions have been this far. I'm just saying, like, from the perspective of that workshop, which I mean, those people were.
They discussed this. Was this before or after the Brussels?
Oh no, this was last semester, so this was before. But I mean, like these are people from Korea and Japan and Italy and all sorts of places, IAEA, etc. That just didn't seem to them to be a plausible pathway, and I don't know if. I mean, I guess at this point, experts should definitely be examining it. So, do you know to what extent credibility has been given outside of the sensationalism?
Well, I think it's being looked into very seriously. So anyway, the punchline is that maybe this is a new nuclear age. It's certainly a lot different, a lot more complicated than the bilateral U.S.-Russia, U.S.-Soviet nuclear game that you read about in Kaplan. And, it requires a lot of different tools. It requires a lot of multilateral tools. It requires diplomacy. It requires energy security. It requires reassurance of allies. Requires a lot. And all I wanted to do was just get that on the table tonight. Maybe able to get more into it later. Any questions or issues just with what? Do you have a picture of, this would be labeled like contemporary nuclear concerns. Okay. Well, I think I'm prepared to pretty much stop. Sarah wanted to make an announcement. Sarah?
Oh, yeah. So I don't know, as you guys may or may not know, we have a nuclear policy working group on campus that meets every Thursday at 5. And this Thursday at 5, we're having Dr. Zach Davis, who also works at the CBSR that Brad Roberts comes from. So he'll be talking about how new technology is affecting intelligence and how that affects national security, specifically nuclear security. So if you guys are interested, it's at the It's at the Nuclear Science and Security Consortium Suite, which is at 2150 Shattuck, the big Chase building, and it's in Suite 230. It's at the end of the hallway on the second floor. So you guys are all welcome to come.
Highly recommend it. It's very good. It's very entertaining. Yes, as such.
I think if maybe we wait a couple extra minutes, Adriana and her group created an interesting graphic that might be interesting for the entire class to discuss. So if
Okay,
there's time,
to do this now?
if you like.
All right, would you like to do that?
Yeah.
I want to cut it short. We could do more next time, but if you want to do.
I was just hoping to make the whole class aware that there's a diagram being built by our group, Group 2 for the breakout. And we're trying to design this diagram where we identified some main branches for breakout and then created. Yes. And then different regions, first layer was by location, and then the outer, more basic regions are by hardware. And what we envisioned was other groups placing on top of that diagram verification, as well as soft power and hard power as different choke points almost, or just like pathways that we would like to highlight in the report overall. Everyone has access to it. It's in our group folder, and hopefully get some contributions going.
How can I see that?
If you go to Google Drive, we can share the whole drive file with you.
Just answer someone an invite.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can
Maybe
forward.
someone could write it to me.
Yeah.
Number one,
We can
turn on.
We can just email maybe a picture.
Okay, that would be great.
Okay.
And to Dr. Frank as well. Dr. Frank's away this week. He'll be back next week.
I think, so just to comment on that, we had a little discussion this morning, and I think it'd be really interesting for the entire class to really come up with a solid definition of breakout, what exactly breakout looks like, you know, how many pounds, how many,
And if the
Whatever.
definition is changing, from what we've seen so far as just a classical definition, it seemed that they kept repeating the point that it's one weapon would be the definition for a breakout or the start of it. But there have been other articles written that one is not enough anymore to really classify it as a breakout. But that seems to open up many more tangents and a lengthier discussion. But we'd want to include some concrete quantity and time scale
Right.
into our
Very
definition.
good. By the way, I meant to mention that you should look at, I don't think, perhaps I can give you a specific reference, but this Nuclear Security Summit that was just held, you should read at least, there's like a final takeaway sheet that the White House put out of what they accomplished and what they need to accomplish in the future. Nuclear Security Summit. That's something you should be aware of. All right, well, I think then, let's see, so I mentioned next time we have Georgia Moore scheduled to be here. And I'm not sure, I think Dr. Frank may want to talk a little bit about plutonium, get into some of the technical details of plutonium reprocessing, plutonium bombs, and all of that. On the 18th, which is in 2 weeks, right before the 18th. Right now, it looks like we're going to have 2 other Livermore people speak. This is not meant to be an advertisement for Livermore, but I have very good people. So one is Bruce Goodwin. Bruce Goodwin was the chief nuclear weapons designer at Livermore. And he's gotten all kinds of awards for designing nuclear weapons. He's now doing some other things at the lab. So he may talk about the future of the nuclear stock, of the U.S. nuclear stock. The other one is Dean Wilkenine. Dean Wilkenine is a technical expert on technical performance capabilities of ballistic missile defense, which is an important topic on nuclear matters as well. if we go ahead with that on the 18th, the 25th would be the last session where we may have like a negotiation, some kind of crisis simulation exercise. I'll tell you more about that. I also want to see how you're doing. That doesn't, it could be held, but it doesn't have to be. If you need more time, you can class time to work on the project. I'd like to leave that in advance. That's the last full schedule class. Then May 2nd, there's no class. You're getting ready for the project. And May 9th, you give a presentation of the project. Is it clear? Everything? Okay. Is it being useful? Some of these guest speakers, are they giving you added? I mean, I think there's a lot of additional material and different perspectives on important issues. And it's very, these are cutting edge people. This is the best we have on these issues. So I think it's really should be valuable. Okay, great. Have a good time and we'll see you next week. I will communicate by email.